you want.
I'm not sure. I prefer record or if it is in YouTube, you can use it just to not make false information.
Exactly so.
Okay, share the link. In this case, I will share with colleagues to check when they want. It will be available all the time or for limited time.
All the time.
Until you tell us that it is not necessary to have it anymore. Good, guys. That. So should we start or should we wait still 1 or 2 minutes? I see that there is a 15 people on the call already.
Oh, okay. So, let's start. Let's start.
Okay, guys. So let me start the presentation. Hope you see it now.
Yes.
Okay, guys, so really pleasure that you find enough time to meet with us and spend some next maybe 90 minutes, maybe a little bit more, depends on your questions. So before we start, I want to share some general information. So basically for today, I'm here with you. My name is David and I'm the leading PEXIP in Central Eastern Europe. And also Dorian is with us today. So he has a really special job in PEXIP because he's a solutions architect responsible for that territory, but his role is a little bit more wider because he's responsible for all strategic accounts, so really important customers. So we have a lot of knowledge today in the meeting because of him. Regarding the agenda, it will be quite simple. So we don't want to guide you through all the solutions which we have in portfolio. We want to focus on that part of the portfolio which is easy to sell, which can generate the biggest margin for you, which we see that market is needed. So we will focus on that, and I will start the first part will be on my hands. So I will guide you through video conferencing based on interop, mostly Teams integration. A little bit about what we are doing in terms of self-hosted solutions. Self-hosted means that either it could be on-premises, hybrid, or cloud. And then I will give my voice to Dorian. So I believe that his part will be a little bit more fun because he will show you some stuff. He will also explain some additional solutions which we have in our portfolio. And regarding the questions, so maybe to not lose the grip of that presentation, please, if you will have any kind of meetings, any kind of questions, just note it or put it on chat in the call. And when the presentation will be done, we will move back to all the questions and try to address it properly. Good, guys. So I suppose that most of you at least, heard something about PEXIP. You already delivered one of the projects, which we are very happy. We strongly believe that there is still a place for improvement and deliver second and third one and a lot of them. So hopefully this presentation will allow you to feel more comfortable with our stuff. Let's start from a slide, which basically it's not it should work as a kind of a proof for you that we are checked by most famous companies around the globe. Because I want to show you that, first of all, those big brands already used PEXIP for many different workflows. This is the first point. And the second point, I divided that slide for vertical markets to show you that PEXIP is not a solution which you can only use for governmental institutions or like you done in your first project, I mean TBS. But basically our solution could be used by many vertical markets like manufacturing, utilities, services, retail, healthcare, finance, governmental, pharmaceutical, technology. Basically, we are delivering something which is necessary for companies to grow. So we are delivering a tool to communicate, but we are doing this slightly different and in many situations way more different than those big brands like Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, we are doing something way different and want to prove you today why. So from the portfolio perspective, we are able, or we are basically dividing our portfolio for 3 pillars. And those pillars you can see on the screen. So one of them is secure spaces, second video innovation, and third one is connected spaces. So today we will focus mostly on connected spaces and secure spaces. Maybe we will just briefly mention about video innovation. And the reason behind that is quite simple. So the project for Bulgaria governmental institution, which you already delivered, actually was a kind of a video innovation. So maybe, at least from my perspective, it is better to focus on the connected spaces and secure spaces. Why? Secure spaces is something which is extremely important, and this is the fastest growing part of the Pexip portfolio from the last couple of years. And the reason behind that is very, very simple. So you just need to turn on your TV for some kind of watch some kind of an information facts, what is happening around the globe, and you will see that from the geopolitical situation, secure communication, or the communication in a secure way, is crucial, not only from the perspective of governmental institutions, but also all public. And so, yeah, this will be one of the stuff which we will definitely speak today. And the second point, I mean, the connected spaces is something which is like a 50 to 60% of Pexip revenue. So pretty significant part. Basically, I'm quite sure that when you are visiting your customers, most of them are using Microsoft Teams. Some of them will use Google Meet. Our intention is not to switch those customers from Teams or from Google to Pexip. We are delivering something which could extremely improve the way how they communicate through that tools with usage of the typical SIP VTC endpoints. So my part is mostly about connected spaces. So let me jump to it. So regarding the Pexip for Microsoft Teams interop, what basically is included in that sentence? We are talking about cloud video interop, which is a way through it you will be able to communicate standard SIP or H323 endpoints with Microsoft Teams. It could be done through Pexip public cloud, or it could be also delivered in a slightly different version. I will name it as a hybrid, but later on a few slides, I will explain you more about it. Then the part of the solution is SIP guest join, which is extremely important. And this is kind of a new one in the portfolio. We are the only in the world who are able to deliver that part. I will not tell you what is this now. I will explain you later based on slides, but this is a really big differentiator. And I never meet a customer who didn't want to have it. The third point is a Teams root SIP.H323 calling. So you know that when the customers are using a Microsoft Teams, in the meeting rooms, some of them could have typical endpoints like Poly, old Polycom, Cisco, or Tandberg. Maybe they are using some Yalink devices. Maybe they have some old Lifesize or any other SIP endpoints. But in some of the cases, of course, they are using also native devices. Like I'm talking here about the MTRs. So there are a lot of manufacturers of MTRs now, like Logitech, like Lenovo, and all the others. Those endpoints were closed to till the maybe last month. I mean, close means that they were able to communicate only between each other. Now it's way different. You can also have a call directly from that typical endpoint to standard H323 endpoint, and later on I will show you some additional information about it. But why this is important? I told you on the very beginning that the interop part of the Pexip portfolio is between 50 to 60% of the company revenue. We are a global company. We have customers in 195 countries. We are global availability. And that part is over half of the company revenue. And the reason behind that is, again, really simple. So all over the world, we have a 4 million plus video systems. We are talking here about the devices. At least approximately in our days, there are almost 300 million Teams users. It means that all that users around the globe need to communicate with those endpoints which are already delivered and which are trusted, checked by a lot of the really big institutions. They go through InfoSec certification and so on and so on. So we need to find a way how to communicate this tremendous amount of people who are using the Teams app to those endpoints. And Pexip delivered that kind of solution. We name it as an Enterprise Room Connector. And before I move forward, I would like to briefly mention to you about something which is crucial here. So if you will move back, let's say to 2022, there was 4 manufacturers around the world who were able to produce that kind of solution. It was Pexip, Cisco, Poly, and BlueJeans. So BlueJeans basically bankrupt. They are not exist anymore. So it means that only 3 left. Poly decided to stop development of their solution, which was named as a Real Connect. And they are basically OEMEA our one. So it means that for today, there are only 2 manufacturers who are able to address that needs all over the world. So Cisco and Pexip. TBS have a coverage of at least few Eastern European countries. So definitely from the perspective of your territory, you have plenty of opportunities through which you can address that need. So the market for ERC, Enterprise Room Connector, we are named this internally as a ERC, so it's a kind of a shortcut. Hopefully you will remember that. So first of all, what I would like to transfer you, or what is worth to remember, is that our ERC is a Teams Interop, which is a best in class in terms of user experience. So I have lots of slides through which I will prove you that. It is, from the budgeting perspective, ERC is a huge cost-saving solution. Why? Because of 2 reasons. First of all, we are reducing cost of the expensive infrastructure. So basically, ERC is a package of features, and through that package, customers don't need to have any more really expensive infrastructure in place. Everything could be done by cloud. So from the maintenance perspective, it's way more cheaper than anything else. The second point is that this cost saving could be achieved through to postpone investment into a new video hardware when moving to a new platform. It means that if a customer X wants to have a new platform, video platform, and have some endpoints, they don't need to think anymore. They will need to replace the endpoint because the endpoints will not work correctly with the platform. Through ERC, we are able to translate the languages between the platform and endpoints without touching the endpoints. Customers will not need to change absolutely anything. What's really Enterprise Room Connector is from the benefits perspective. So what is the solution, or what customer can achieve through it? So basically, customers who have traditional SIP and 8.3.3 endpoints are able to scheduling calls from their Outlook perspective or Google Calendar, whatever, if we are talking about Google integration. They are able to schedule the calls, and they are able to connect to SIP or H.323 endpoints without thinking about who was the manufacturer of that solution. There is no need for any employment retraining because the solution is cloud-based, is dump proof, let's name it like that. It is really, really used. There is no need for kind of additional trainings, or we will not change the workflow which users used to it. The next thing is very intuitive joining experience. So we are delivering a solution which name is One-Touch Join. And basically from the user perspective, they just need to click a one button to join the call. They don't think about long strings. They don't need to remember anything. It's really easy. The next thing, which is in our days extremely important, is security. So this is worth to mention that Pexip is a Norwegian company. So we are located in Europe. We are GDPR compliant. We are ISO 27001 compliant cloud. So it means that we are meeting all the security policies which European Union and a lot of other institutions around Europe and around the globe wants to fulfill. So I have a slide on which you will see how many and what kind of security certification we have included, just to give you a proof that, this is something extremely important also. And the last but not least is the solution is simplified admin of existing video devices with modern dashboard and comprehensive endpoints and CVI analytics. I also have a slides about it. So you will see how easy administrator of the solution can manage not only the calls, but also the endpoints or all the infrastructure. And I believe that Dorian part will be even more fun when he will touch that point. So from the implementation or architecture perspective, Enterprise Room Connector could be delivered as a cloud-based solution. We are talking about public cloud. So we are, as a manufacturer, Guys, can you please switch off your mics? It will be a little bit easier, and you will turn on it again when we will be finishing. So it could be delivered as a pure cloud solution, or it could be delivered as a self-hosted. Self-hosted is something which maybe Pexip didn't invent the name, but basically self-hosted means that customer can easily build the solution on their premises, or it could be kind of a hybrid. Hybrid means that, as an example, customer will be able to run the platform in their own part, or Microsoft Azure or AWS or Google Cloud. So from the feature summary, maybe it is also worth to mention that I will share that presentation after the call. So you don't need to make any kind of a screenshot or specified notes. You will receive that presentation, so nothing hidden here. But from the feature perspective, we can divide those features by 4 major parts. So one of them is pre-meetings features. One of them is dedicated for VTC, so video endpoints. The next one is in meetings, and the last one is basically all the experience around joining meetings and calling. And now the purpose of the next few slides is basically to guide you through that 4 pillars and explain you a little bit more how it works. So if we will look from the very general high-level perspective, what kind of features are available in ERC, which are delivered as a service, so as a cloud-based solution. So yes, we have our SIP and H.323 integration. We are able to also integrate this with Skype for Business. I'm not sure how this looks as an example in Bulgaria, but in Poland, we still have maybe not a lot, but there is for sure a significant amount of customers who are using Skype for Business, and they are migrating now to Teams, or they are but they are having also Teams for a video app perspective, but still Skype is a kind of a tool. So through that integration, we are able to, as an example, allow Skype users to calls to Teams users. Then we have a one-touch join experience, which I will explain you later for Cisco and Poly endpoints. If customer have endpoints from different manufacturer, we are also able to simplify the life a little bit in terms of the experience of joining the calls, but it is done on different mechanism. We have something which name it as a trusted device, and I have separate slides about it. We have SIP guest join, custom branding, Teams-like layouts, and as you see, tons of different stuff. I will guide you to all of that stuff, but here, this is a kind of when you will receive that presentation, when you will go to your customer and want to speak about what really talking about, that slide could be a kind of a cheat sheet just to show and just to explain briefly what basically is included in the solution. If we will look at this from the self-hosted perspective, all the features are the same. They are something more because the self-hosted part is different architecture. So as an example, customer is able to have a full control over the media. So data sovereignty control is included. There is an enhanced customization built-in. So it means that based on our solution, customer or customer through you can build even their own client from the scratch. There is also this disaster recovery plan. So from the security perspective, this is way more sufficient. So if you have a potential customer like a governmental institutions, army, police, some banks, financial institutions, pharmaceuticals, and so on, usually they thinking they want to have something on premises or in a hybrid way, just to avoid any issues which could be generated by the cloud-based solution. So I mentioned that I will guide you to through this four part. So let's start from the user experience. So what is happening as a kind of a pre-meeting? So imagine a situation when user is sitting in their or entering their meeting room. They would like to schedule a call. They would like to easily join the call. They would like to have a branded environment, and they would like to feel secure, no matter what kind of platform they would like to use. So we are talking here about Google, Teams, Pexip, BlueJeans, whatever. So how the native scheduling workflow looks. So this is actually a screenshot from Outlook, which are showing you how the invitation could look. So as you see on the above the slide, you see that there is a join meeting button. So this join Teams meeting everybody can use. Of course, then you need to additional invite some people and invite some video endpoints. So it means that you are inviting an email address of your endpoints. And then on the bottom of the slides, you see that there is actually, this is a Microsoft Teams meeting. So there is this link, click here to join the meeting. But below that, there are some specified additional information. Like if you want to join that call from the standard video conferencing device, please use that link. Here is your video conferencing ID. There is also some additional VTC dialing instruction. Plus, you can brand it through your own logo, some custom image, and so on. How this will look from the perspective of native Teams app and video conferencing endpoint. So as you see, there is no big difference. I mean, the way how the call potentially will look on the endpoints is almost the same like on the app. And this is extremely important because users don't want to be disrupted. Users don't want to see the news, some new features, or they would like to go through workflow, which is well known to them. So yeah, I think I have additional also slides about it. So if not, I will back to it at the end, but don't want to do it now. One-touch join experience. How this works? So, of course, this is included in the meeting rooms, so the plan which you would like to use. And the option basically is built in. What this means? This means that when you will invite your meeting room, then on the touch panel of your endpoint, you will see that there is a meeting planned for, as we see on the screen, in that case, for 19 to 20. And the only thing which dear customer will need to do is basically click that green join button. And through that button, he will be able to join the call without thinking what kind of platform is used behind the solution. This one that join could be delivered as a fully on-premises or fully public cloud-based solution. It is integrating with calendars like Microsoft 365 or in Google example with Google Calendar. We support all the Poly and Cisco devices, also the old ones. So if you still have customers who are using Polycom HDXs, there are still tons of them on the market, or Thunberg one. Yes, we are able to also integrate those endpoints with our OTG. Additionally, on the Cisco devices, we can run some macros. So those macros will, for an example, show you the list of participants, the roster, and so on. It's easy to configure, it's easy to run, and it really simplifies the lives of users. How the joining experience look now? So as you see, first of all, typically the video endpoints will jump to a kind of a virtual reception. Then the virtual reception, somebody will need to admit them, or there will need to enter kind of a conference ID, and after somebody will admit them, they will be able to join the call. And if you will have our ERC or customer will have our ERC, there is a mechanism included which we name as trusted device. This trusted device means that we are able to create a pool of endpoints which are trusted. Usually, what customers are doing is that they are treating their own endpoints as a trusted and all the others as untrusted. So from the user's perspective or joining experience, it will look quite easy. I mean, all the trusted devices will not land in a lobby, but will be directly in the call. All the others, of course, will need to be admitted by somebody. Yeah, this is basically untrusted workflow. So I already explained that. So you can ask, of course, this is a kind of a regular question, but what if I cannot use OTG, or what if I have like a Yalink endpoints as an example, or Huawei, so you are not supporting that kind of manufacturers through OTG, so what we can do? So we have like something which internally we name as a no-touch join experience. So what we are able is basically generate a QR codes. Either they will be displayed on the screens or they can be on the desk in the meeting room. And all the users will be able to use a Pexip Meeting Connect app. And through app, they will be able to scan the code. And then after the code will be scanned, then they will be the call will be transferred directly to the endpoints, and endpoints will allow you to jump to the call without touching anything. So it means that you are entering the room, you are not touching any touch screens, you are not clicking to anything. Basically, what you only need to do is turn on your app on your mobile phone and scan the code. That's all. How the customization and branding looks. This is funny actually, because when I joined Pexip 3 years ago, when I was in the, let's say, training period, some people showed me that, yeah, we have something like branding included. And I was thinking that, yeah, but this is a typical marketing, it's just a logo and wallpaper, whatever, maybe some additional information, but from the feature perspective, this is not so big deal. I was really surprised actually how important that is. So, of course, when you are talking to IT department, they don't care. But if you are talking to marketing, if you are talking to business managers, they definitely want to be customized. They want to have their own logo, they want to have their own buttons, they want to have their own graphics, they want to have their own fonts. Basically, they want to create an environment which from the external participants will look like their own system designed or dedicated for them. So I was really, really surprised how often customers are asking about it and how important it is. The branding itself could be done in lots of different ways. So if you will choose our ERC cloud-based solution, you are able to basically change the background image, some icons, some text prompts, maybe audio announcement also. You will also have some indicators like camera mute on or transcoding is on or off and so on. But if you will go with the fully self-hosted solution, then you can build it as you really want. So it could be designed from scratch and absolutely every single pixel could be design specified by customer. So on one of the first slide, I mentioned that SIP guest join is something which really changed the way how people think about communication between standard endpoints and teams. And now I would like to briefly describe that. So what basically SIP guest join is, it's a functionality for PECSIP customer which allow them to connect with their existing VTCX equipment to the external Microsoft Teams invites. So what this means, CVI in the past, so interop through Microsoft Teams in the past works only one way. It means that if you have the Teams integration solution included, and if you are creating the invitation, then all the others people, no matter if they have CVI or not, will be able to join you. But the case is way different when you have your own CVI, but the invitation actually comes external, and the creator of the invitation have no CVI mechanism included. Then, even if you have your own CVI, you will not be able to join that call. So that was a huge blocker for many organizations because basically they want to have a solution which will be bulletproof. So it means that they can be an invitation creator or they can join any call which will be generated for Microsoft Teams. With SIP guest join, actually this is finally solved. So no matter if you will choose our cloud-based solution or self-hosted, you will have that possibility to join the call without any additional special magic. It will work both ways. Here is a simple example or simple graph how this basically works. So we see that there is a company A. Company A has H.3 endpoints. They have also Microsoft Teams. It is integrated through their own CVI. And when company B don't have these CVI capabilities and want to send them the invitation, yes, it will work to SIP guest join feature. Yep. Okay. That's fine. Regarding the SIP guest join and direct guest join, so maybe you have heard that there is also a mechanism available on the market, which, as an example, Cisco named as direct guest join. But from the feature perspective, it is way different than what we are delivering. First of all, we support for all SIP video endpoints. So through our SIP guest join, no matter what kind of SIP endpoints you have, you will be able to join. With Cisco, you were able also to use Cisco devices and not all of them, only the new ones. We are able to share the content from video endpoints through our SIP guest join. With direct guest join, it wasn't possible. So again, Cisco don't have that solution. We are able to support dual screen video. It means that one of the screens could be used for audio and video and second for content. Cisco don't have it. Then we have layout control, AR-driven layouts. So customer is able to use the layout which they would, which basically is the most comfortable for them in terms of how many people they have on the screen and what kind of content is shared. With the Cisco, it was only 2x2, so 4 people on the screen. We are able also to share the whiteboard from the video endpoint through BFCP protocol. Again, on the direct guest join, this feature is not included. And we have a participant list on touchscreen Cisco device. So this is delivered through macro. This macro needs to be installed on the endpoints, but yes, this is possible. And again, Cisco don't have it, so direct guest join not works here. I'm not sure how this situation look with Poly. Maybe Dorian will tell you a little bit more about it, but I know that at least there was a kind of a plan to also have that participant leads on some Poly endpoints.
Poly wants to close the CVA service as fast as they can.
Okay, so that is the painful answer, but yes, it is like it is. Thanks, Dorian. So yeah, let me check how many slides still I have. I need to keep my time. So yeah, the pre-teams like CVI experience. So as you see on the screen, we have a standard SIP VTC device from Poly. In that case, we have some information about that the conference is muted or unmuted. We have a kind of a layout. In our example on the screen is 1+7. If there are some indicators like raise hands or status indicators, yes, they are also visible on the screen. We have some avatars and so on and so on. So it looks quite good, in my opinion. And from the perspective of users who used to use only Teams, it will not confuse him at all. So, but in more detailed information. So what kind of status indicators, as an example, user of the typical standard SIP endpoint can have on the screen. So they are divided for 3 pillars. One of them are these announcement indicators like transcribing that system, that the call is recorded or streamed, that there is some action required, that as an example, people are waiting in the lobby and somebody should admit them or not, or that everyone are admitted. There are some icons, of course, just inform the customers or the user of the calls how to behave or what is happening out. And there are also kind of an audio announcements like the transcription has started, that the recording has started, and so on. According to European law, all the users must be informed that the call are recorded, as an example. So additional extremely good feature which users love, it's Teams like layout. And I mentioned on the beginning that when you are a Teams user and you did not use SIP devices in the past, or maybe you have, but basically workflow looks different, then it a little bit confused the users, because here they have a kind of a different scenario, here they have a kind of a different scenario. So again, it could generate a lot of IT issues, a lot of IT tickets. Just to something is not working here. Basically, usually everything is working, but because the workflow is different, users are lost. So with Teams like layout, what we are doing is replicating the Teams layout in standard VTC endpoint. So as you see, if somebody is raising hand, yeah, you will see that somebody is raising hand. If we have somebody who is an active speaker indicator on the app, then yeah, you will see also on the endpoint that he is an active speaker. If there is a transcribing, yes, you will also see. So basically, this all information are dynamic. So depends on what is happening. You will also be notification. You will also receive notification what is happening. If you will have two video participants, so again, on the left side on the screen, you can see how this looks on the endpoints. On the right side of the screen, how this looks on the app. So in my opinion, absolutely no difference, and it should be not confusing users at all. If somebody will raise a hand, okay, again, you see left sides, endpoint, right sides, app, no difference. If you will share the presentation, we have a Teams-like layout, which allow us to use all screen. So it means that you will not have a lot of this black labels, and from it will be more visible, more easy of use for the users. Yes. What else? Not sure if you ever heard about dual screen Teams layout, but imagine a situation when you have a call. So as an example, there are 10 different people who are using their own app, 3 different video endpoints. So we have like 20 people. Some of them are in the same room, some of them are not. And you have a dual screen, 2 screen in your meeting room. So usually it is configured in a way that one of the screen is used only for video and second of the screen is used only for content. But when we are not sharing any content, then one of the screens basically is not in use. So what we are able to do through our solution is to divide those people or switch those people, share those people for 2 screens, whatever we name it, as you see now on this example. And if anyone will start sharing the content, then the people will be moved to one of the screen, and on the second screen you will see the content. Really nice solution, definitely improving the quality of the calls. Here you have this example, which I briefly describe you with the content included. So yeah, additionally, worth to mention about some AI, artificial intelligence, which we are using in our system. So as an example, even if customer have really old endpoints, there is no people framing, group framing on that kind of features. Our solution on backend is able to frame people in a proper way, just to see really those one with whom you would like to talk. To see properly content and so on. No matter what kind of endpoints you have, this is done by our staff on backend totally. I mentioned also that from the IT perspective, it is really important to have the possibility to analyze what is happening in your networks from the interop perspective. So all the administrators have access to something which we named as a PEXI control center. So from that control center, all the administrator of the system will see what is the status of the endpoints, what is the status of the calls, what kind of endpoints are registered to the service. If there are any meetings now on, then you will see what kind of IP addresses are on, what kind of protocols are in use, how the quality of the calls looks. You can count how many minutes each endpoint is in the calls, just to, as an example, have a really easy way to check. Do you should have additional endpoints on the second floor or third floor because maybe the usage of the existing one is already too high. Additionally, which is a separate license in PEXIP, there is something to manage the room system. So the supported features are bulk activation of video endpoints, firmware upgrades, managing configurations like backup restores, and macro uploads on Cisco endpoints. So here on the screen, you see all the features. I will not walk through each of them. I just want to show you that something like that is included. And if customer have Cisco, old Tandberg, or old Polycom devices, we are able to also deliver a solution through which they will be able to manage all of that devices. From the global perspective, this is also really important, and IT people definitely understand that we have the really global high quality video backbone. It means that we have a lot of what we name it POP, point of presence. It means that this is those are kind of a data centers through which all the calls are connected to each other. We have over 10 of them around the globe. So because of that, we are able to have really nice quality without any delays, without having issues with jitter and so on. Beyond Teams, so Teams meetings. On one of the first slides, I mentioned that there will be also separate information about something which we name it as a Teams room device, so SIP H.323 calling. So imagine that customer is native Teams. It means that they have Teams, they have MTRs, as an example from Logitech or from Poly, and suddenly they need to communicate internally or externally with somebody who is using SIP devices or old H.323 devices. So in that scenario, they stuck. They cannot do anything more. With our solution, they are able to basically have a call from the MTR to SIP endpoints or H.323 endpoints. There will be a possibility to see the people, hear the people, share the content. All the features will be included. There is only a one, let's say, a regulation or policy. This MTR endpoints needs to be based on Windows, not Android. And also, customer needs to have a Teams Room Pro license from Microsoft. So this is basically limited by Microsoft. But yeah, if they have it, then everything will be possible here. Okay, I will jump next from that slide. This is a short video, but we don't have enough time basically to play it. I just want to mention that no matter if, as an example, if customer have Zoom, Teams, SIP endpoints, and so on, we still are able to run the communication between all of those platforms. So from the user perspective, they will not see any issues that, as an example, they can call from SIP endpoints to Teams, but suddenly Zoom users are excluded from that call. Okay, I go through all of that features, I believe. So additionally, the spotlight behavior, users are really like to use spotlight feature of Teams. So in that case, this will be also included in typical standard SIP endpoints. Raise hands. Yeah, you already know that this is working, so I will move on. And all the indicators on the left side on the screen will be also visible if, as an example, 2, 3 or more people raise hands, then you will see who was the first one, who was the second one, and you will be able to give the voice accordingly. Layouts and audio avatars, this is really important also. So usually when audio, people who used to use only audio channel wants to basically say something, they were able to, of course, say, and everybody were able to hear them, but nobody knows who the hell those people are because they were not visible on the screen. So in that case, in our case, you will see this avatars on the left side on the screen. If they have their own photo, also photo will be included. So yeah, it will be a little bit easier light from the security perspective. And the layouts, there are some layouts, of course, available, like 2x2, 1+4, and so on. You see all of that layouts on the screen. What is the new kind of a feature is that from the perspective of self-hosted solution, now have a feature through which customer through the partner, so in our case through TBS, are able to build their own layouts. Yeah, now I would like to switch a little bit the subject and move from the Teams integration, which in my opinion is really crucial for you, because this is an easy money if you want to basically grab this low-hanging fruits. Teams integration and selling additional features, integrate video endpoints with the Teams is really easy sell. The last thing which I mentioned is you can use Ask for Help Dorian for support. He is able to run the POC for the customer in hours. It will not consume tremendous amount of resources from the customer side. It is fully cloud. We need only a global Teams admin who will be able to run 2 scripts. And after an hour or maybe 2 hours, if something is a little bit more complicated, run the full POC. And my personal goal is to always convince customer to run the POCs, because usually the success ratio is above 90%. When customer will agree to have a POC, we also have an order soon. So yeah, please talk to your customer. Ask, do they have any kind of a needs with the Teams integration and SIP endpoints? And if they have, then let us know. We will help you to run the test for the customer. Changing the subject. I just briefly mentioned, I have just a few slides about the secure communication. So this is the fastest growing part of the Pexip portfolio from the revenue perspective. And Dorian will for sure have more information for you about that. So you know what is happening, especially now in Europe. So we have a war in Ukraine. This situation basically is very stressful from the geopolitical situation. So lots of the public institutions, armies, governments, and so on, suddenly don't want to rely only on cloud-based solution. They would like to have something on their own premise. They would like to have a solution which basically allow them to communicate even if the access to the internet will be drop off. So the way how war changed the way how people think about the secure communication is huge. And we see that there is a big renaissance of the on-premises system. And I can tell you that in that part of our portfolio, we are growing around 20% quarter to quarter, which in our days, it's really massive. So here, the biggest or one of the biggest topics to discuss is cyber vulnerability. And I'm not sure if you heard about that. It is basically a quote from Gartner that attacks on organization in classified infrastructure sector have increased dramatically from less than 10 in 2013 to almost 400 in 2020. So it is almost 4,000% change, and it is growing. And you know what is critical infrastructure or classified infrastructure? It is public institutions, ministries, governments, army, police, fire guards, but also energetic sector, gas and oil, logistics, and so on. So basically, in all the countries, we have tons of customers who can be classified as a critical infrastructure, and those kind of customers are now extremely stressed because the number of attacks massively grow, and those attacks can have huge influence on the way how they communicate. Because if they are using cloud-based solution, those attacks can totally destroy, or at least not allow them to communicate in a proper way. So the answer, how to solve this, is of course to have on-premises solutions like Pexip Infinity. And Pexip Infinity is a solution which you already have sold to the Bulgarian government. But the way how the use case is slightly different. Here we are talking about typical on-premises installation. So what the Infinity really is, it's a software. It's fully virtualized. So it means that customer is able to run this on Hyper-V or VMware, build it in your own data center or in the cloud or both. I mean, to build a kind of a hybrid solution. It is fully distributed. So I'm 100% sure that Dorian will mention about that. But distributed means that you can design the way how the servers in your network communicate in a modern way. So it doesn't. It is way different from what we saw in the past when you have your specified devices. On this specified device was kind of an MCU. This MCU was able to handle amount of calls, and if you go above that amount, it wasn't possible to communicate. Here is way more different, way more secure, and you will see that for sure on Dorian presentation. The third one is that it's fully manageable. So it means that there is a single web interface for configuring, monitoring, and troubleshooting. So finally, admins don't need to switch from one platform to another platform to change something, to check how one change influence others, and so on. Here, everything is under one management console. So from the administrator perspective, the life is way more easier. The Infinity is basically divided for four pillars. First of them is management node. So from that perspective, administrator is able to manage the video network. Then there are conferencing node, which works as a kind of a transcoding servers. We can compare them to the traditional MCUs. Then we have edge nodes. So edge nodes are servers through which you are able to communicate externally, and the Teams connectors. So in some of the cases when these big brands or critical infrastructure institutions wants to have an integration with Teams, they are able to do it in that scenario through Teams connector. And this in that case, this Teams connector is not a public cloud-based solution, but it is run on customer part of Azure. So it means that customer fully control the data flow between their own data center and Teams connector in their own Azure. I just want to show you that slide because it's pretty nice. You need to admit there is a screen from Infinity actually. You see President Biden on the screen. You see most of the president of the biggest and the most important countries in the world. Also, in our case, is our Polish Prime Minister on the screen, but you have also people from Israel, people from Germany, people from Spain, and all the other countries. They are communicating, and they are basically decided in terms of the strategic decision through Pexip Infinity. So it is a huge proof that the solution is bulletproof, solution is secure, and if you're thinking about having something which really allow you to feel secure and communicate in a proper way, Pexip Infinity is a good answer. So this agnostic infrastructure, which I mentioned slide before, is basically single tenant solution. The software is fully virtualized, so you can build your own stuff based on cloud or on-prem. Can be used to bypass the internet entirely. I told you that if there will be some attack and you will be cut from the internet, you still internally will be able to communicate through that solution. Customer controls data exposure, again, really valuable point, and can be complementary and integrated into existing collaboration solution. So here, even if we are talking that this is fully on-premises or self-hosted, whatever we name it, it still can be integrated with Teams, Google, and with many other platforms with many different type of calendars, just to have to deliver one joint workflow. Okay, let me jump to next slide. I will show you maybe something different. So 2 more slides. Sorry for speeding up so fast, but I mentioned to you that security is extremely important for PEXIP. So here you have a kind of a summary that, yeah, we are GDPR compliant. We are ISO 27001. We have all media encrypted by default. We have HIPAA compliant for US healthcare. We have highest US military security certification and so on. But if you will look on the bottom of that slide, you also see that we have FedRAMP certification, CCN stick certification in Spain, equivalent of that kind of certification in France, Germany. So this is just for your information. If you have, I'm not sure about it, but if you have in Bulgaria or in the other countries near to you, typical internal security certification through, and if we will pass it, it will give us a better access to those customers. Let us know. We are able to look at this. We are able to certify it, to basically to have that certification and help you to sell our stuff to those customers. This is one of the last slide from my part, just to show you that critical infrastructure customers are really important for us. And you see here a lot of customers like NASA, like US Departments of Veteran, like Ministries of Justice in many countries, like Bundeswehr, so Army in Germany, like GSA, which is a Norwegian security department, like Department of State in United America, lots of police, national police. All of them are using PEXIP. We have a lot of use cases. We have a lot of reference, which we can also share with you, and you will be able to share with your customer. So in many situations, I strongly believe that it will for sure help. Yeah, finally, I reach a point where my part is over. So hopefully you are not sleeping and you'll have now nice time with Dorian. And please remember that if you have any questions to my part, let's wait until the end, and we will try to address those questions at the end. Thanks, guys.
I guess, David, would make sense if we could start, answering some questions just to test that. I don't know.
Okay, that's good. Let's do it.
While it's fresh in memory, also if they want to detail something that they've seen, like I don't know, I'm just saying the Teams like layout. We can also show that in now in real time, so to speak, a live demo.
I see that there are already two questions, Dorian. So maybe those questions we can address through you. First of those questions was, could PEXIP solution transfer call from mobile device on desktop app web call?
So can you please detail that question? I mean, how do you transfer? Do you mean like the Teams type of transfer, as in you answer the call or you got to a call using your, let's say, mobile device, and then when you enter a meeting room with the Teams device, you can move over, you can add another device. Yeah.
The answer is Teams type.
Teams type. You can, Teams type. No, it's not possible. You'll have to dial with that using one of the many ways that David told you, either touching a join button, so forwarding a meeting invite, either scanning a QR code, either the good old dial manually into a call. So the answer is no to this one. But by the way, you have that microphone. You can click on it and you can ask in real time. Okay, guys.
Okay, sorry that I was writing. Actually, that was the question. You answered well, so that was all. Yes, thank you.
Cheers, Lubomir. I was just, wanting to hear your voice. Maybe we're gonna do business in the future, so my voice memory should kick in at that point.
Yeah, okay. for sure we will have a calls. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, the other question was Poly Private Connect powered by PEXIP is rebranded to PEXIP Infinity. So basically, this is not the right way. Some customers are confused about all of that names, but Poly Private Connect is PEXIP Infinity. From the very beginning, it was PEXIP Infinity. Like it was all about that. And please remember that if customer will decide to buy Poly Private Connect, after the installation, they will not see anywhere Poly logo or so on. It will be pure Infinity. So it will be PEXIP branded from all the corners, and it is 100% the same solution. So basically Poly OMEA, that solution from us, but they are not adding even a 1% of their own stuff to our one.
So Vladimir, was this question answered?
Hey guys, yes, thanks. I was not sure, which way it went, but I got it now. Yeah, thanks.
So guys, it's simple. Poly is side tracking their infrastructure, and just to continue and be able to help further the customers, the existing Poly Clarity customers. They teamed up with us, and they are selling Poly Private Connect, which is going to be an Infinity PEXIP Infinity instance at the end of the day. That's just their naming, their SKU. I'm not that good at commercials, but I'm assuming this adds a bit more light to it. Any other questions, guys? From what you've seen, what David presented you, anything that you'd like to be detailed, or would you like to see a demo of that, or see it closer, how that looks?
In this case, with no touch technology, is this mean because there is a QR code scanning, it is working only by phones?
Let me tell you how this QR code actually works. So the QR code joining the no touch is working only for PEXIP service registered endpoints. So PEXIP infrastructure, PEXIP backend knows your endpoint is registered to it. For each endpoint, we generate a QR code. So when the PEXIP app is what? Is an app which has access to your calendar, and you open the app, you go, you say, okay, I have a call today from 12 to 2 o'clock. You click on that meeting ID, and you click join by QR code scanning. So what happens? You are sending to PEXIP Infinity the Teams ID or whatever the meeting ID, and also by scanning the QR code that's unique per endpoint, you also tell PEXIP backend, hey, this is the SIP URI of the endpoint, David dx80 at pexip.com. So PEXIP, with these two pieces of information, does this: dials your endpoint, so you'll see a receiving call, you'll receive a call on your endpoint, and it will patch you up to that meeting, be that a Teams meeting, a Google meeting, or whatever, WebEx, Zoom, doesn't really matter. So this is actually how it works. So you just need to be in front of the endpoint after you have scanned the QR code and click on the green answer button. That's it. So you do have to click something.
Yeah. Okay.
What is also worth to mention what is also worth to mention, guys, that this is totally free of charge. So it means that you are not paying any additional money to have that feature included.
Yeah, it's just you need to have the endpoint registered to the service. That's it.
Yes.
Because there are some SKUs out there, by the way, so be careful, which do not include PEXIP SIP registration. So if you don't have the PEXIP...
But yeah, Dorian, sorry for interrupting you, but because I want to say that, guys, if you will have any kind of potential customer, even it could be even a customer without budget, but they have kind of a needs, you can easily call to us or send us an email, and we will help you. I mean, if customer is speaking English, then we will go for a meeting with you on personal, on video, whatever. We will explain everything. If they would like to run the test or POC, we will help you. Dorian is able to run it. So I just want to say that you don't need to be, rely only on yourself. Please use us. We are kind of our resources which can be used to help you deliver the business.
Okay, thank you. We will use both of you. Okay.
Any other questions, guys?
Looks not. We can go further.
Okay, so to my part, the first thing I want to tell you is if you have two monitors on your stations, what you can do is you can, let me just connect my, you have to give me a second. Okay. Okay, so to start with, if you have two screens, which probably most of you do, what you can do is if you click up here on the right hand corner up, you have dual screen mode. So if you have two screens, you can click on that, you'll see that, and then you can put content on one screen and people on one screen, just for you to better see that. Okay. Now I have a few points. I'm not going to share any slides. I'm not that good at slides. What I can do is I can go with you through some points that David mentioned, and that is the first of them being PEXIP Infinity architecture. So why do we say it's a distributed architecture? We can install and we can deploy PEXIP Infinity across multiple geographies. I don't know how often is going to be the case for you to do that, but you can still have a customer with multiple points of presence, let's say in Bulgaria, and they would probably require local transcoding resources and different exit and entry points into the network. When I'm saying different exit and entry points, I'm meaning communication with the internet. As you can see here, this platform, which is by the way deployed in Azure, it can be deployed in Azure, in GCP, so in Google Compute Cloud, in AWS, and in the Oracle Cloud. Not sure if you'll ever have the case, but we've done it also in Alibaba Cloud. And obviously on pretty much every hypervisor for self-hosted deployments. That is VMware, Hyper-V. I'm not really a fan of Hyper-V, but still it works. KVM and all the other orchestrators that have KVM under, which are Nutanix. I'm using Proxmox, so you can deploy those as well. And if you want, you can have a combination of those. So you might want to have some nodes on-prem connected to some nodes which are in the cloud deployed, and they can work together as one video conferencing infrastructure. Right, so what you see here is a PEXIP Infinity deployment with its own Teams connectors. So the calls going to Teams go through own infrastructure. So nobody has access to the data contained in that in those calls, and I'm meaning CDRs, the call detail records. And this deployment is, as you can see, in for deployed in Europe. These nodes are deployed in, I think in Amsterdam. I've deployed them. This is in Australia, which is Southeast 2, and these are in the US. Based on geolocation. If you dial from Australia, then a meeting, this the entry point is going to be in Australia. And let me just quickly demonstrate you this. I have some dummy endpoints we could use. Okay, and let's try to dial this meeting. I'm going to dial TBS live at pex.pc, and I'm going to use pex. I think it's aus pex.pc. Let's see if that is not 30. Let's say 4 of them. I'm going to connect all of them. It's also one of them. Okay, they are connected. But as you can see, I have in the waiting room some, and you will probably see a number of participants here. Where is this? Okay, that are coming from Australia. So you see this Gabrielle, Lucy, Samuel, Wendy, and the others. They are participants that came via Australia. If I'm going to make them hosts, you will see them as well. So this one and this one and this one, you'll see on the screen multiple other participants, right? Which are some dummy endpoints, some pre-recorded videos. The point is they are coming and they've dialed through Australia, and Pexip Infinity automatically bridged the nodes, the conferencing nodes deployed there with the conferencing nodes deployed here in Europe, giving you a larger meeting. As you can see here, maybe it's more explicit. This page I'm showing you. You see that they have these participants occupied 2 MCU nodes in Australia, and then they've built a cascade between this region and this region. Now, for you that are a bit more technical, I'm not talking cascade in the RMX type of cascade where you would send just one stream, which would render Windows in Windows. I'm talking about a full layout, same layout for all participants in the call. So it's we hate the word cascade. We are calling it backplanes. And these backplanes are, by the way, also visible in here. So for example, a backplane that's being sent between Australia and Europe, you will see that it has multiple streams, multiple video streams for the number of participants that are actually hosted in that on that node. So we are not sending just one video stream, we are sending multiple. Okay, so this is the let me just disconnect these guys from here. So this is the way, and this is why we call this a distributed architecture. So you can have multiple, and by the way, I'm monitoring the chat, or if you have any question, please just unmute your microphone and feel free to jump in. I would like to have a discussion rather than just a monologue. And you can see how that happened. You also see what's called the burst locations. What is burst? We have a concept of powering on already deployed nodes. No, let me just go back one sentence. So we should all agree that all the servers that are running in public hypervisors, again, AWS, Azure, and GCP, they burn money. So if a server is powered on, it burns quite a lot of money. Just to give you an example, how much money, for example, this server, this conferencing 01 in Europe West costs, or let me see if I am in the correct subscription here. Not all of them, just one. And let's take this one. Okay, so this machine if I'm going to size, it's an F series version 2. So this machine, right, which is an F16 V2, costs $566 a month if it's running. If it's powered off, it will still cost some money, but not that much, as in maybe $10 a month, because it reserves a public IP, it reserves some hardware, some storage, like the operating system is the hard drive for that operating system. So it will cost some money, but just a fraction of what it costs when it's running. So what do? We have this concept of cloud bursting, and we say something like this, and this is completely configurable for you. We can say we're going to have an always on node, let's say MCU that's running, and if the available ports remaining, I don't know, let's say I have one MCU with 100 ports, and I want to say if that MCU goes to 90% load, automatically power on some nodes in the bursting location. Powers a node if then again the sum of always on plus the bursting capacity goes again beyond 90% usage, it powers another node and so on and so forth. This is valid the same way going backwards now. So if the number of conferences is getting down, then automatically we are going to shut down one node and another one node and another one node until we only remain in these nodes. Let me just exemplify you. If I'm going to dial, so I'm going to put here, I'm going to dial this conference, okay, in Europe location this time. So it's going to be tbs.live at pex.bc. This is going to be eu.pex.bc. So I'm going to have 5 people into the call. You will see that as soon as I'm launching this call and they will get connected, you will see here a node that will be automatically powered on. So the live view has obviously a bit of a delay, like a few seconds, but you will see now that automatically you see this node, it's doing like this, so it's powering on because we have grew to 98% of these 68 available ports, right? It's gonna take 1 minute or so, just like any other server on the planet, 1 minute until it's gonna be available to service customers. And this is the cloud bursting concept, that I've disconnected them now, and automatically this, okay. Georgie, so that's going to be sent to us, that feature request. Do you have, is that regarding the real Rocket Chat integration? Is that connected to that? Your question?
Yeah, that is correct. I don't want to interrupt, maybe, because it's not directly related to whatever you want.
That's fine. Yeah. So in your case, Georgie, that's a Rocket Chat question. It's not our plugin. And the floating IP, the floating public IP, we do not have that concept. The concept we are having is your load balancer should know multiple IPs internal or multiple FQDNs, to come back to the question you have asked like 1 week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, here I'm not referring to the Rocket Chat itself, more or less of what the process would be if such a question were to come up, not Rocket Chat specifically, but rather in another deployment. If we have some,
shoot them to me.
I don't know, feature request or architecture change that somehow might be actually, if we have some architectural decision with our client, which might in some way fight with the Exip Infinity design, and this hasn't been accounted for, it's more of a who do we talk to, and for a possible change in how lenient, and how lenient would the Exip team be for implementing changes on your end? Because this is mainly, this question mainly comes from the fact that, like you said, a lot of the governments or clients have heightened security consciousness, so to say, and not necessarily, but I feel like most of them wouldn't want to have this exposed to the internet, right? And if there is some theoretical issue with that, how would we approach you guys?
So I can give you a couple of short answers to this. Firstly, let's have a talk before discussing with the customer to give them an expectation. Hey, we are going to raise a feature request and we expect it's going to be done. Let's have a discussion, because we might have already that case and we might have applied an architectural design that's not exactly, let's say, described in our docs website, but it was applied, it was done, and it's working. It's proved to be working. This is the first answer.
Yeah.
The second answer is, just like all of us in this call, the companies have to pay us at some point at the end of the month. So to have a feature request implemented is definitely something we can do. It's just a matter of how much engineering work that's going to take. If it's 10 hours, then maybe that has a price tag attached to it. If it's 100 hours, you understand my point here, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. So, but on and on, technically you are asking me, and if it's commercial stuff, you ask David. This is how we work usually. Right. Okay.
Thanks.
Good. Did I answer for now your questions, Georgie?
Yeah, definitely. The first answer was more or less what I was asking for edge cases. Yeah, thanks.
Cool stuff. Okay, good. So going forward, this is the distributed architecture. Now, as you can see, we also have Teams connectors. So if you have that security conscious customer that wants to have everything under his control, another thing would be Teams connectors. So you know that today, if you want to bridge the, let's say, legacy video conferencing, WebRTC, SIP, RTMP, H323 world with Teams, you need to go to one of the CVI partners, which lately is just two of them. It's Cisco and it's Pexip, and I use this alphabetically, so not necessarily that I'm a bigger fan of Cisco than Pexip. And the other option you have is using your own Teams connectors. What are the Teams connectors? Teams connectors are VMs that are deployed in Azure, in customer's tenant, in a scale set. So for this Pexip VC deployment, I have 3 scale sets, okay, which are interfaced to Pexip Infinity with a traffic manager. The traffic manager being directing the call based on geolocation. These scale sets can have one server, one Teams connector can handle up to 16 traversal calls. We can also have here a sort of automatic scaling based on call patterns or on usage. And they contain these Teams connectors. They are like yours, so nobody else sees what the Teams connector log is producing. And just to tell you what the Teams connector log is producing, let's look at the logs, see what do we have in the logs. Let's take the E1. Okay, and I'm gonna go to the storage account, and then I'm gonna go to the container, and here, no, one back, wrongly click. Okay, and here I have logs, and I think that the log, the VSS, I guess it was the third one, yes. And let me just 2023-11-20. Here I think I had some calls, and let's get this one, which is a bigger one, and I'm going to download it. Okay, and let me just open this. Okay, so what the Teams connector is seeing a lot of stuff, including, let's search for Torian. Okay, so it sees, and just increase a bit the font, maybe it's okay. It says participant UID, which is in this case the Teams side users, which are either Teams clients, either PSTN inbound calling through Teams calling plans. Okay, I'm seeing through which Teams connector is coming. Anyways, the tenant ID, so the Microsoft tenant ID. If it was a trusted participant, aka could have dialed directly into the call or had to be admitted. Okay, and then you can see the remote alias of that, so the UPN, the Teams UPN, the display name, and so on and so forth. So you can see quite a lot of stuff when you are using Teams Gateway. Going back quickly to security, anticipating a question from Georgie. These are Windows 2019 servers. It's not Pexip saying that, it's Microsoft. We are investigating also deploying Teams connectors on our operating system, which is a Debian Debian OS, a modified Debian OS. Right, having said that, I'm jumping quickly to security. So security in Pexip has multiple aspects. If you are going to search Google for Pexip security incidents, you're not going to find too much. Actually, you're not going to find anything. If you are curious, you can search XYZ, and you can replace XYZ with whatever you want. So you can search for XYZ security incidents and have a look there what Google returns you. So we are quite proud of this stuff. So it starts with building security. So when building an application, we have in Pexip a team called the platform team, which actually took a Debian vanilla Debian release, stripped everything out from it, and then added just the modules that we need. For example, OpenSSL, right? Before adding any module, you need to know that we are scanning those modules for using specific tools. I'm going to give you one name, for example, SNYK, SNYK, to prevent security incidents like if you've heard a few years ago about SolarWinds, which happened to SolarWinds. This is what we try to prevent, right? So which is supply chain type of attacks, right? So when we are building the product, the operating system, we have a platform team that actually does this, and it's scanning and it's pen testing and vulnerability testing the OS. Needless to say, you should not. You have root access in Pexip Infinity, The way to patch Pexip Infinity is not manually using apt-get, is by installing a new software release which we give out there. Obviously, if we the cadence is something like around four major releases a year, plus a number of intermediate dot releases to address either new features that did not catch the major release train, either to fix some issues, either to patch some 0 days and stuff. We are quite fast in this. If you remember, it was like 1 year-ish ago, the log4j stuff, we came up with a build in a number of hours. Then, like I told you, whenever we produce a new build, it gets automatically testing. Just a fun fact of the day, you should know that when Pexip was founded, I wasn't unfortunately around. The first thing that the really small engineer team that built back then was a testing tool. So they didn't start building the product, they started to build firstly the test tools. We have automated tests that run each night, and they're testing, deploying a Pexip Infinity beta instance or whatever that version is, testing some stuff, deletes it, deploys another one. Obviously, it's a threaded process, it's not serial. And this is how we ensure that we are bug-free and we do not have regressions. Also, whenever we have a release candidate or a beta build, it happens, vulnerability testing happens on it, and also penetration testing. That's another security aspect to Pexip Infinity. Another one is when you have an issue, let's say the customer, and you are asked to send us some logs, you should know that Pexip employees, including myself, because we have access to customer data. So this is, first let me tell you that we take security also seriously from a procedural point of view, which is the least privilege access. So not everybody in Pexip has the same access to resources and to different stuff. It's only you get access to do your job. That's it, nothing more. But the ones that need access to and can see customer data have been hired only after a background check, quite extensive, if I might say, quite extensive background check process. So also the people that are looking and help you solving customer issues, if they get logs from you, those guys are to be trusted. That's actually, I guess, my point. Any questions so far? 1, 2, 3. No, okay, no questions. So moving on. I have at least a couple of demos for you, and that demo is, one of them is showing you some special cases. One is a real world headset that can dial into a meeting, be that meeting a Teams meeting, a Google meeting. Is gonna be a Teams meeting in my case, in this case at least. Let me see where I have my MTR. No, firstly, let me show you something regarding MTR. So you remember that David told you we've built an MTR point-to-point call. So you know that when you have an MTR, you can basically only join Teams meetings, or if you have interop, you can join also WebEx or Zoom meetings, with the drawback that if you are joining a meeting, a Zoom meeting or a WebEx meeting, you cannot share content. And as you can see here, my MTR has this touch panel and 2 monitors. So in that case, if you have the embedded Teams MTR Zoom and WebEx meeting joiner, you only use one screen from the two of them. So let me show you quickly how I dial a SIP endpoint directly without an invite, and I benefit from two screens experience. So here up you see one Poly Studio X50, which is dual monitor, and here in the VNC app you are seeing my Windows MTR. You remember that David said currently this only works for Windows-based MTRs. If you have customers with Android-based MTRs, you'll need please to send a feature request to Microsoft to help adding this also to with Android-based MTRs. So let me try to dial this Poly X50. I'm going to, because I am lazy, I would like to copy the SIP URI. Okay, so where do I have this? I'm gonna copy this. Okay, and then I'm gonna go to the MTR. I'm gonna hit place a call. Some of you might know this interface, but you might not have seen this drop-down list where you can actually choose to dial SIP. So if I'm clicking on call, okay, you will see that an incoming call should be on the Studio X. Let me answer the call. Okay, and I'm in a call with the MTR. So the endpoint, the Studio X50 endpoint is in a call with MTR. If I would start sharing content using, probably you remember this app which is called Polycom Content app. Okay, I have the code 5501, and if I'm sharing, let's say desktop 3, you will see that on the Studio X I have, as expected, one screen with the content and one screen with the remote video. And here in the MTR, I have on one screen I have full content, and on the other screen I'm having remote video. Right. So as you can see, it has I'm calling it a normal experience. So using all the screens and all the real estate on the screen available. This is MTR point-to-point calling. Like I told you, you can dial from the MTR directly, Zoom calls, SIP calls, H323, whatever you would like. Any questions regarding to this one? Okay, I'm going to assume no questions. We have another 30 minutes. Let me show you quickly how a RealWear headset looks like and how it's going to join Teams call. It's really simple. So I'm going to launch the RealWear Explorer. Let me connect this to the RealWear Explorer so you can actually see better what's happening. Okay. Okay. So this is the RealWear Explorer app. Okay. I have connected cable. Thank you. Yes. Start now. So you see that you have this. We have an app that gets loaded to the headset. Obviously, when you are a remote worker, you don't. So this is for the cases where you are, I don't know, where the remote worker is on a relay tower or in some conditions where they cannot use their hands. That's why we have voice commands. Unfortunately, nothing in Bulgarian. So let's see, PEXIP connect. Okay, start another call. Okay, I'm going to scan. Let me see if I can, one. Okay, join the call. Submit. My phone off. Okay, I'm in the call now. So with the with the headset. I'm in the call. You should probably see. No, you don't see it now because I did not promote it to be a guest, to be a host. Sorry.
Yeah, we see the view from your
From the Real World Explorer, yeah. But
yeah.
let me just promote this to be. Let me promote it to be a host. So you can actually see it on the screen. I'm going to demote you, David.
Sure.
Or if you can just okay, I'm gonna make you a guest so we don't see, and I'm also going to demote myself so you can only see the Real World Explorer. Yeah, this is how it looks like. Let me just also stop. No, I'm gonna leave content still. This is the way of having the Real World Explorer. This is my view in this little headset. Obviously, the use cases are remote workers unable to use their hands, or not having to use their hands doing stuff. We can attach different AI video stream analyzers to it. So, for example, we can have. Let me just do something here right quick, very quick. Okay, I'm muting it if I can. Okay. It has, as you can see, different zoom levels. I can choose the bandwidth. I can favor sharpness or motion, so a more fluid image, or a more, if the network is not that good, I can lower the number of frames per second and favor a full HD quality. It has flashlight, and also we have the capability that the remote back office, let's say, operator can make also these changes remotely. So they can automatically zoom in, and they can change this frames per second versus resolution setting remotely. We are actually working with some companies to add 2D and 3D virtual reality stuff. So basically, if you can automatically measure the distance between one point and another, or take or have volume being computed, or surface, or we can anchor on devices. One case was in the US, where using a real world headset, they were inspecting, or like field technicians, they were inspecting for trains, the carriage connection mechanisms, if they are reliable. And this was done by comparing the video feed with a card drawing, to see whether they are not deformed, and if they can reliably connect carriages. Right, so this is the real world headset in this call. I'm going to leave the call. Okay, I left the call, and I'm going to go back in setting myself a host so you can see me. Okay. Now, I can also show you, let me see if I can play with that. I can play with a drone, adding the drone in the call, if you want to see that. It's another use case that we do have, and that's for inspections, or I cannot give you the customer name, but you're going to figure it out anyways. If it's a war zone and you want border patrol, you can use, obviously not this kind of toys, but it's just to prove a point. Okay, I'm gonna put it on my Cisco switch here to have a takeoff zone. Okay, and I'm going to launch the Android app for that. It's an Android app. Okay. Let's see if we are connected. Come on, dude. Okay. So, I don't know, you probably know how this app looks like. If you played with a drone before. I'm going to add the meeting ID and then the name. Okay, and the drone. And I'm going to add it to the call. Okay, let's see if it joined. Okay, it joined. Okay, and I'm going to. So you should see it now. It's on the. Close to the window. Let me find David here. Okay, good. So let's fly this thing and let's see. You'd see how it actually sends video. Okay, so you should probably see it in the call already. And this is my. This is again another use case for Facebook Infinity. I can obviously use multiple drones and on video feeds and yeah, stuff like that to add inspection and to put also AI on the drone, on the video feed that the drone is sending. Let me land this guy. Okay, safely landed. I'm taking it out of the call, and that's it. Another thing that worked. Yay! Good questions related to this? No questions. Okay. Special cases we've discussed, these drones and the real-world headset. Again, like I told you, they can be in any type of call, any type of platform you'd like. A quick explanation of what you see here. We are using APIs, so our APIs are something like really helping customers. You can have using API, you can have a conference control, real-time conference control stuff tool. So let me just also make David a host, so you can see him as well. And for example, I can change David's name. Okay, if I'm doing this, you should see his name is now Mr. D. Yeah, so we can do lots of stuff. We can mute. We can stop. We can stop remote incoming video. We can stop. Receiving content. So, for example, let me just give an example. Lubomir, you should not see content anymore now. Tell me, please, if that's correct. Thank you for that. Tell me, Lubomir, do you see content now? You shouldn't see content anymore.
See the content.
Sorry?
You mean your camera, Dorian and Mr. D?
No. So you should not see what I'm sharing now. This white screen with the content.
Yes, of course. I'm not seeing. Yes, only two of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now you should start seeing it again. Okay.
Now I see it. Yes, correct.
Yeah. So we have this tool. Obviously, it's free of charge. We can give you a lot of advices what to do with these conference controlling systems. It's really important, guys. Why it's really important? Because a question. Let's have a trivia question. Do you know how long took Microsoft to stop Teams in Russia? Something like 2 years ago, or whenever the war started. Give me some numbers. Anybody knows? How long did Microsoft need to stop the Teams? 3 days, says Georgie. Anybody? Any other opinion? Come on, guys. 15 minutes, says Angelo. Somebody else, I need 3, please. One week. Okay, you are all wrong. Angelo was the closest, not 15 minutes, but 5 minutes. So, connecting back to what David said at the beginning with the complex geopolitical situation, a cloud video conferencing solution, cloud communication solution can be shut off in number of minutes if somebody wants to, and you don't have control to it. So for let's say government, military, police, they cannot rely on a tool that can be shut down just like that because somebody wants. And this is the case to all the customers that we have in this field, at least. Having said that, obviously they need tools to be able to easily manage their platforms. One of those tools is what I'm showing you here, using APIs. I only have I'm gone over with 1 minute over this, but I would like to show you really shortly another
Dorian, can I interrupt you for just 1 minute?
Yes,
guys, because I already started a second meeting a minute ago. So I just want to thank you very much because I need to jump to another call. Please spend this additional few minutes with Dorian because
just 2 minutes.
His presentation are absolutely awesome. So if you will have any questions, please feel free to ask me directly. I will share with you that presentation, and it was great to have this opportunity today to talk with you. Bye, guys.
Bye, David. Okay, so I'm just gonna take you 1 minute, and you are smart engineers. You're gonna immediately understand what I'm saying. In the call control platform, we have what we call policies. What's a policy? A policy, and again, all the answers are under docs.pexi.com. What a policy can do is it can treat a call based on some criteria. So, for example, let me show you an example here. I can say, even if I have a meeting with a PIN code, I can remove the PIN if, let's say, the endpoint that dials into that meeting belongs to the CEO of the company. I know it's IP, okay, and I can say, if that endpoint joins the call from location A, where location A is these locations, right? These are the locations, then do not ask for a PIN. So update the conference, set PIN equals nothing, right? Or I can say remove the PIN if the endpoint is registered. What does it mean registered? It's been authenticated, username and password with PexIP Infinity. So I can remove that PIN, even if the VMR, the conference was configured with the PIN, I can remove the PIN for specific participants. Or I can say use a different theme based on the time of the day. What does it mean? I'm setting the time zone, and I can say if it's before noon or if it's after 12, I can say either good afternoon. So when you dial into the meeting, you're gonna have an IVR saying, hey, Ivailo, hi. Hi Ivailo, good afternoon, or can say, hey, good evening, Ivailo, right? So you can do all sorts of crazy stuff using VMRs. The craziest stuff I was doing with VMRs was multi-factor authentication using PIN sent on SMS. So it was going like this. You dial into a VMR. I know who you are because I have your, either you are dialing from a registered endpoint, either you dial from a cell phone. So if you are dialing from a cell phone or from a registered endpoint, I know who you are, and I can send you I can create on the spot a random number, 4-digit, 6-digit, whatever number, and I can send you that number to your mobile phone. So, and I can set that PIN code, that number to be the PIN code for you, right? Then when the next participant joins, the system generates another 4-digit number and sends that participant the PIN, either via email, either via SMS. We were doing it via SMS. So if you have 100 participants in a meeting, they will have 100 distinct pins. Obviously, if you drop the call and you join again, you're going to have a new pin. So the system is going to, again, randomly generate a pin for you. The pins, these policies are applying to the platform. And for example, it can do like this. I can say if the conference type is gateway and it's a Teams conference, then I'm going to set the view, so the layout, to be Teams, or it can be 1+7, or so you can do all sorts of crazy stuff with this. More about policies you can experience and you can check here, or if you have specific questions, you can obviously ask me. That's all I wanted to say about this. I know I'm 6 minutes gone through. It's David's fault, by the way. Policies. So when you create a new policy, so you can unmute your phone, your microphone, Georgie, if you want to ask. But let me ask.
Yep.
Let me answer you this question. So I'm going to stop content. Okay. So to apply a policy in the system, it takes something like 1 to 2 minutes until it is replicated. So every node inside Pexip Infinity has a copy of the database with all the settings at the big level, right? So when I'm modifying something, that something is modified in the management node, and it needs some time to replicate that setting. In case of the system, you are seeing that PEX VC system, which has 18 nodes, I think, 2 plus 18, 20 nodes, it takes something like 2 minutes to replicate all the changes. And once that's done, then the policy is being used every single time a call hits the platform. So what happens is when a call hits the platform, Pexip Infinity says, do I have a policy that applies, meets some criteria? If yes, then makes those changes. And then the call, starts flowing. So this intermediate step with Pexip Infinity checking the policies occurs between SIP invite and 200 OK ringing on the other side. Right? So the answer to the policy is really should be really fast, so you don't stay ring too long.
Yeah, I was asking because they look like Ginger templates, and usually in my mind it's you need to run these. The question was more or less whether this is something that we need to take into account from an engineering perspective during implementation, and that would take some time, for example, some maintenance window to apply, or is it something that can be done on the fly, which you answered. Thanks.
So just to give you an answer now, there are two types of policies. So you can define a local policy on Pexip Infinity itself, or the way we are doing, for example, in Pexip Service, we are using an external policy server, which is a Flask server that serves some Python stuff to it. Why Flask? Because it's the fastest server we could find out there. Our policies are huge, so they're like huge. But the answer is like in milliseconds back to the server. Now, if you are using an external policy server, you modify something on the policy server, and as soon as you save the changes to that JSON, let's say there, or to that Python script, it goes in effect at that moment in time. So whenever the next request from Pexip Infinity comes to the external policy server, then the policy server serves whatever it's being saved.
Yeah.
So it's instant.
Yeah. Yes. Thanks.
Okay, so I guess that was what I had to say for now. I could talk another couple of days about Pexip Infinity and the various things that we have and we could do. Let's do that, on a case-by-case basis, or whenever, when you have specific questions or customers, you can definitely ask me. If you have any questions, please ask them now, or I'm going to say thank you for attendance and see you next time, whenever that next time is going to be.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you
then.
very much for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, have a good evening or a good day going on. Bye.
Bye.
Your call will be disconnected.